something stronger.
Come on, get in!
You built a pickup truck?
It's not just any pickup truck, it's the all-new 2019 Chevy Silverado.
I've watched a lot of movies throughout my 19 and a half years of living on this planet Earth. Some good, some and a couple others we don't need to mention. I'm more of an animation guy myself when it comes to movies. But my favorite movie of all time is definitely the Lego Movie. To start, the Lego Movie was the first film by the Warner Animation Group and was released on February 7th, 2014! Jeez, I feel old. Before its release, people initially viewed it as a cash grab simply made to have more kids spend their parents' life savings on expensive plastic. But to many people's surprise, it ended up not being just a commercial, and was in fact cinema. I know this is a well-known fact for most people, but can I just say how freaking awesome this movie is? From a great cast that plays great characters, to a heartfelt story, to amazing animation that does a great job of emulating stop motion. Heck, everything is awesome still slaps to this day in my opinion. This is definitely one of those movies that still holds up to this very day. I remember after eventually buying this movie physically, I watched it twice back to back. I've already lost count on how many times I've watched this movie in total, and for me, I've never gotten tired of it. Not too long after watching the movie, I saw that there was a Lego Movie video game that I later got in the summer of 2014. However, it was the 3DS version, so it caught me a bit by surprise when the game looked like this, when I was expecting it to look like this. Yeah, I didn't really know anything about technological capabilities of consoles and stuff like that back then. I soon found out that they were already working on a Lego Movie 2 that would come out sometime in 2017, which had me really excited. Later on, I read in the Lego Club magazine that they were making one of those 4D attractions at Legoland based on the Lego Movie that would come in late 2015. That time came, and when I went to visit the theme park, lo and behold, it wasn't there. Turns out it ended up getting delayed to February 2016. I know you shouldn't really expect much when it comes to these types of things, but after seeing this one, I think this might be one of my favorite 4D attractions I've ever seen. Now, that's not really saying much, since it's still one of those characters doing wacky shenanigans type of attraction. But I like the ideas they had here, like having the main characters go to a knockoff Legoland called Brick World, and the bad guy being Lord Business's brother, who wants to mind control the characters to perform in his theme park. It's silly, but fun at the same time. Although it did feel weird hearing the characters say the word Lego, since that word was basically non-existent in the original. All in all, I think this was a great little appetizer while we waited for the sequel. Although, not too long after this, it was confirmed that the Lego Movie sequel, which is what the title was going to be at the time, had been delayed to May of 2018, and now a Lego Batman movie would release instead in February 2017, with the addition of a Ninjago movie coming in September of that year. When I found out about this, I was kind of disappointed since I wanted to see more of the characters that we had seen in the original movie. However, I was willing to see how these two spin-offs would turn out. As I previously stated, the Lego Batman movie came out in February 2017, and they had done it. They were able to make a movie that was just as good as the original. I'm personally still more of a fan of the original, but I can see why this one was praised so highly. It keeps the charm of the original with more great characters, great comedy, and another heartfelt story. This movie also gave us another good Joker, which was nice after what we had gotten the previous year. Oh my god! Unlike the other movies, this was the only one to not receive a standalone video game. Rather, it became a story expansion pack for the game LEGO Dimensions. And that's all I have to say about that, since I never played LEGO Dimensions. The month of September soon came along, and with it came the release of the LEGO Ninjago movie. Just like the last two movies, this one was also met with praise from critics and fans alike. Oh wait, hang on. I need to check something for my religion test tomorrow. Give me a sec. Okay, now, what was the 9th commandment again? Oh no... Yeah, so this one wasn't as well received as the previous two, likely due to two reasons. One, people were starting to get a bit tired of these movies, especially since we got two in the same year. I myself wasn't really feeling the fatigue since all of these movies so far had been one-off stories that didn't require you to watch the others to understand them. Although, I guess it is true that all of them were similar in terms of presentation. 2. The Ninjago movie was obviously based on the TV series of the same name, and what they did here was that they basically threw the source material out the window and did their own thing, with only a couple references to the show. I still think the direction of this movie worked fine enough, but it definitely made me ask questions such as, where was Spinjitzu? Why are the ninja using mechs? You know, stuff like that. Anyways, like always, there was a video game tie-in that was released simultaneously with the film's release. This was a full game this time, rather than an expansion pack, since LEGO Dimensions was basically dead by the time this came out. Never played this one either, so moving on. Now, all that was left was to wait for them to start releasing teasers for the LEGO Movie sequel. Oh! Now, this delay did happen a year prior, but thanks to my non-possession of a phone, I never got the memo until that point, when I just felt like looking up LEGO Movie sequel news one day, while on the family computer. Time passed, and in late May of 2018, they revealed a new official title for the film, which was The LEGO Movie 2, The Second Part. I thought the name was kinda at first, since the 2 already tells us that this is in fact the second part, but then I saw that it was a small pun with part referring to LEGO parts, so I felt a bit less about the title after that. With this came the reveal of the first poster for the film, and boy was I super excited. We saw the characters from the first film with an apocalypse survivor kind of look, which raised curiosity as to what happened after where the first movie left off. A couple days later, we got our first teaser of the film, and for me, it was really great seeing these characters back in action after so long. The movie eventually came out in February 8th, 2019, and guess who was a super huge fan of it? Not this guy! I'ma be honest, the closer we got to the release of this movie, the more I kept thinking, yeah, this definitely isn't going to be as good as the original. And unfortunately, I ended up being right on this one. Now, that's not to say that this was a bad movie by any means. I liked the ideas that were presented in this film, and even liked how this was basically a parody of musicals, which I'll admit did have some pretty good songs, even if they did get old for me after a while. And it still had the heart that made me love the original. But I think my main problems with this one were underutilizing characters that we got to know in the previous movie, to the comedy not being as good as previous movies, and the overabundance of references to other media. Sure, you could say the original also featured things from outside media in it, but those were cameos, which I feel made more sense since it was a kid playing with his toys, and even then, it didn't overstay its welcome. Anyways, LEGO 2 ended up flopping at the box office, which, funnily enough, wasn't because of the movie itself. Rather, it was most likely due to the lack of any promotion for it. I remember doing an icebreaker activity during school one time, and at some point we had to tell our partner the last movie we'd seen. I told my partner that for me it was the LEGO Movie 2, and they exclaimed, "There's a second one?" That was something I heard a lot whenever I had mentioned LEGO 2, which goes to show how poorly Warner Bros. Marketed this film. It's funny though, because once it came to DVD and Blu-ray, it apparently sold really well. Too bad it wasn't enough for Warner Bros. Though, who decided to break things off with the LEGO Group, basically canceling the sequel to the LEGO Batman movie and another spin-off that was planned called the Billion Brick Race, and killing any chances of a possible LEGO Movie 3. This sucked because not only were they abandoning the franchise that started the Warner Animation Studio, but they were abandoning their only good franchise, since everything else made by the studio up to that point was either mediocre or bad. I'd say the only good thing to come out of this was the fact that they knew when to stop and ended it on a decent note. As of now, it's been 4.5 years since anything LEGO Movie related, other than a short PSA from Emmett and Wildstyle in 2020 regarding the pandemic, and a dedicated area in Legoland in 2021.
What about the
What?
Yeah, when the film came out, there was a game as well.
Shh. We don't talk about that game. It never existed.
But it says right here on Google.
You know what? Get in my basement. I'll bring a surprise for you in a bit.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now where did I leave my... Ah, shoot! Forgot I left my old Samsung Galaxy Note 7 in there. I was gonna give him some good LEGO games to play on the TV, but oh well. Now, even though I had problems with the last two LEGO movies and didn't think they were as good as the first two, I still think they were still enjoyable and much better than the rest of Warner Animation's catalog. As for the LEGO movie franchise itself, we don't really know what's next. The LEGO Group had signed a deal with Universal not too long after parting ways with Warner, but seeing how Warner owns most of the characters we saw in the first few movies, chances are we won't be able to see those characters again, which gives LEGO and Universal a couple options. Option 1 could be that they make their own original LEGO movie and maybe follow up with a spin-off or two. And option 2 could be that they make multiple LEGO movies based on Universal properties, like what they did with Batman and Ninjago. We'll just need to wait and see. I guess LEGO Movie 3 just was never meant to be, and in all honesty, I think I can live with that. LEGO Movie 2, although not perfect, was still a good entry to the series that ended nicely without adding anything extra that could lead to any possible sequel. In the end, the LEGO Movie and its franchise have been a big part of my childhood, and now I look forward to seeing what LEGO and Universal bring to the table. Oh, well, I guess we'll see how it goes then.
Anything is super. Anything is super when you're not part of the group. Anything is super when it's under fair use.
He's so cool.